to another episode of Justin and the Food Entrepreneurs podcast. I'm Justin Bizzarro. I'm your host. That's Bizzarro. And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Justin and the Food Entrepreneurs. So today I'm really excited to have an original back. We'll call them the original OGs because I think it was one of the first 10 episodes we did, if I'm not mistaken. But as I sit here and look at the charts, these guys are still sitting at number 2 of all time for their episode. So, Cecil and Jake, welcome back. How's Sacramento, California, and Nash Proper?
It's hot.
Thanks for having us.
We're in a heat wave right now.
Literally, or just from just turning your Nashville chicken into a physical ATM machine?
No, it's actual heat wave. It's been, in the hundreds for, I think it's going on 7 days right now. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 112.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's a scorcher. And then we had thunder, like lightning storms last night. Around 1 a.m. Yeah, just rumbling, and I thought lightning was going to hit the house. I think it hit my AC. My AC started going off. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's awesome. So, I mean, Jake, we haven't formally met you before on the podcast, but obviously we've heard your story. So, Jake Bombard, welcome to the podcast. So tell us a little bit about your background. Tell us the story of Nash Proper from your perspective. We've obviously heard it from Cecil's perspective, the chef, but tell us your story, your background, how you guys met, sort of your version, just to get the audience up to speed in terms of what your business looks like and how you guys operate and sort of how your partnership began.
For sure. Cecil and I started working at a restaurant together, and I think we clicked right off the bat. He was always pushing me to do better, and I was a pastry chef at that time. And so, he gave me the shine and what I needed in my confidence level to push myself and, become a better cook. We both went our separate ways for a little bit, and then Cecil opened his food truck, and he wanted me to come back. So we linked up then.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was the previous food truck, right? Cecil, was that when?
Yeah, that was Cecil's Taste.
Yep.
So Cecil's Taste was my first food truck concept. We specialized in smoked pork belly. We had gourmet burgers, loaded fries, pork belly tacos. That was like my chef days, like I'm coming right out of the kitchen. I'm going to do my menu that I always wanted to do. It was a grind. It was a lot of scratch made, smoking my own pork belly, curing it for 7 days. It was like me stepping out on my own kind of thing and doing what I wanted to do. So I called Jake. I forget. I don't think, were you in the kitchen at the time when I called you, Jake, or am I mistaken? No,
I was.
Go ahead.
I was on hiatus. I was burnt out. I was done with the restaurant industry. I was at Intel. I was actually in computers at the time.
Oh yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I just missed it so much. I couldn't sit at a desk for the rest of my life. So, Cecil called me back, and it was time to go and get back on the road.
So, let's talk about this. I love the name Nash Proper. I think what you guys did there was a great thing, and you guys linked back up and you sort of sparked this alternative concept in why Nashville hot chicken. I encourage everyone to go back and listen to the first episode, but we have both guys on now, and I think it's important we sort of just really dive into this, because what they've created is quite a concept, and I want to make sure we give value in the foundation that you guys built, because I want people to understand the success that you've had, and where you are right now and success that you're having, the amount of work and sort of the amount of pivoting that you guys have had an opportunity together to get there, at least what I've seen from my perspective over knowing you guys and watching you on social media. So,
I'll start it off. When we were doing Cecil's Taste, we were doing a bok chicken sandwich on there. It wasn't Nashville or anything. It was just a straight chicken sandwich. And we would go to UC Davis campus once a week. And, we're still doing the pork belly, still doing we were still doing the gourmet burgers and stuff. But I put this chicken sandwich on, and there's a lot of people that don't eat pork on that campus. They don't eat red meat. But when I did this chicken sandwich, we were selling, I believe it was like 200-300 pounds of chicken a week. And it just kind of sparked something in me. Is like, this might be a concept. And at the time, Jake, he was thinking about going and doing his own thing. He's, I think it was like a coffee crepe shop. And I was like, you know what, man, I got this idea of just doing like a chicken shack. I want a trailer. And, it took a little convincing because I think, when you're in a situation, you have your mindset of, I want to go do my own thing, that's what you want to go do. And, I don't know what changed in, Jake's mind, because I was like hounding him. I was like, dude, this chicken concept is going to be great. Like, there's no fried chicken food trucks in Sacramento. I was Googling, there wasn't anything like in, like from here to Oakland. And I was just like, man, like if we don't hop on this fried chicken, trailer concept, somebody else is gonna do it. And but I told this on the first podcast, I went and tried the KFC version of hot chicken, and it was horrible. But I knew there was something there, so that's when I started studying the history, about the Nashville hot chicken and Prince's and the newer version of Hattie B's and, what it was all about, then start creating my own recipe of, hot chicken, like we're Nashville inspired, we're not Nashville hot chicken at all. We're not from Nashville, but we're inspired by, the Prince family, cause I consider, Jake, my brother, you know what I'm saying? Like we've been together for so long, and, Jake's a very modest person, but he's one of the people that's known me for a long, long time. He's seen, my dark days. He's seen, a lot of stuff that, even my wife, hasn't, seen in me, but Jake was always there for me. And, I always wanted to give him an opportunity. Because if he had a dream, I wanted to be there with him. And when, I had the concept, I had the recipe, but then he was like, I want to build this social media thing from scratch. And I was like, that's a whole nother world. And I wasn't willing to do that world, but he was. So all the content you see on our social media, from our designs of our merchandise, like that's all Jake, and he's self-made. You know what I mean? Like he had this idea of, our patterns of what our logo should look like. And, he's worked with a couple people, like I have my 2 cents in there too, but Jake is actually the person that, you know, is actually, you know, doing all this social media stuff. And, you know, we have stickers on Instagram now. I didn't even know if that was a thing, but he's the guy that did all this for us. You know, he's great at what he does. And, you know, like, I think that our social media and our food in the beginning, that's what I told him. I was like, our social media and our food should be the same. They both should be great. If you go on Instagram and you see some of these things, you're like, oh my goodness, I need to go try that. And then you go try it and it's garbage. But you see our chicken sandwich, and you're like, God damn, I need to go get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you eat it, and you're gonna be like, oh, this tastes just how it looks on Instagram.
Yeah, and the bite better match the bark. That's for sure.
Yes, exactly. So, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Jake, because he's not gonna pump his own self up, but you know, I'm here to tell you he's a solid, loyal, creative dude right here, man. But you know, go ahead, Jake. Sorry, I just wanted to put a little shine on you real quick, man.
Appreciate that. See, appreciate that.
So let's talk about that. Brand. I mean, we've heard how from the culinary side that, you know, what Cecil's done in terms of the food and why, you know, Nashville style chicken and the appreciation for it. And I like the clarity, you know, it's not Nashville chicken, it's Nashville inspired chicken. And I think that that's important. We do a lot of that, right? We have plenty of Japanese restaurants in the United States. They're not necessarily Japanese restaurants, they're Japanese inspired. And I think there's a distinction there. That's important that we deal with a lot in regulation, which is a whole different side topic. But what I think is really cool is you talked about the social media. So let's back up a second, because you had one food truck, Chef Cecil's, and then you did the trailer. You got the trailer and hooked it up and did Nash and Proper. So, you know, and then I think you've switched to now both being Nash and Proper, which I actually know the answer, but you've made the full switch to both being Nash and Proper. But in doing so, how do you feel that your approach to social media, Jake, I guess, let's really dive into it, helped benefit and helped match what Cecil was just talking about in terms of making the food match what you did on social media? Because that's not interesting. It's hard, right? Go ahead.
Well, now I don't have two brands to deal with. It's just Nash and Proper. So that way, you know, we focus all of our energy on the Nash and Proper brand. And I would say it's more than social media. It's building the whole brand and what the consumer sees as what Nash and Proper is. You know, it's from the designs on the shirts, you know, the look and the feel of, you know, the outside of our food truck and soon to be our restaurant, how that experience is when you go inside there. You know, you see restaurants with IKEA furniture and, you know, tacky things on the wall. We don't want that. We want to be original. And I think that's the whole experience is what, you know, I would argue a lot of restaurants smaller restaurants don't take into consideration. And then as far as the social media, it's just so powerful that, you know, a lot of people sleep on Instagram. Instagrams are, you know, bread and butter. It's a visual experience, and it makes you see what other people are doing, and it makes, you know, the customer want to go try something different, I would say.
Well, and so talk to me about this. What is Nash and Proper to you, Jake? What is it that you're seeing that you're trying to convey? You talk about this. What is it that's making it different? And it's different, and you didn't want it to just be the same old. But what is it that you guys are trying to convey with your food? What is the message that you're putting out there in terms of marketing and advertising that you feel that you guys are trying to represent? What is it that the Nash Proper brand ideally would be to you? If you could tell someone.
You know, I just want to keep it fresh and trendy and original, I would say. You know, a lot of people just put generic posts with, you know, what are you going to eat for lunch today? And it's just, it doesn't come from a place of, you know, originality. They're just posting because they have to post and they want people through the door. But it coming from me, you know, the owner, I'm invested in this. I wanted to, you know, do well, and I put a lot of extra, you know, just effort into what goes on. We don't have a social media team. I'm the social media team, and so I think that is kind of the difference that sets us apart and what I'm trying to convey. I just want to make it trendy and cool and something that you have to go out to try, I would say. And if you forgot about us, or, you know, you might get that reminder in your feed that, oh, you know, I haven't had Nash Proper in a while. Let's go down there and see what they got going on today, you know?
Absolutely. And I think it's cool. One of the things that you're doing is you are reminding people that you guys are still there, especially with what we're going through with COVID and the coronavirus and food trucks and to grab and go restaurants. All that stuff's become important in the world that we live in, just because of trying to keep the social distance and the rules and regulations that have sort of come down in order to keep safe. So I think it's really cool what you guys have done. But what I like is you're the one out there doing the social media as the owner, so you're learning it. So down the road, if you ever needed to pass it on, you're the one with the knowledge. You didn't just outsource it from the beginning. Like, it's an important part of our business now. It's not, I agree the food needs to taste well, but I also agree that we live in a world that the social media and the presence and us as entrepreneurs and owners need to be the faces of our business, because that's what people expect now. You know, and whether it's directly the face, and whether it's directly us, I mean, a lot of us I have my personal account, and then there's business accounts and so on and so forth. But what it does is it's building the audience to an expectation. They know who's behind it, and that's you. And you can say, okay, I need help with social media, but this is the expectation. This is my dream. This is what I lived. This is from my experience, and I think that's pretty cool. So let's talk about something fun and exciting, and then I want to come back to marketing and advertising, just because I want to change the topic, just so it doesn't get stale, pun intended, since we're talking about food. And it's is how you guys went to 2 food trucks. I mean, that's the last time we talked, Cecil, but from there you've built this restaurant. So tell me how you made this decision to go into sort of a brick and mortar model. And then also, what it's been like. Is it the same menu? Do you support it? I mean, I don't even know if you cook there. Do you cook out of the trucks and do it out of a storefront? I mean, because we have seen some of those models pop up. But tell me about that. Either one of you guys.
Yeah. So since we talked last, we have 3 food trucks now. We have a commissary kitchen. And then we have a restaurant. So the commissary, you know, it was a necessity, just like you're talking about. We were at a shared commissary before, and we just got too big for it. You know, there was one prep kitchen in there for, you know, 75 trucks, and we just pretty much outgrew it. So we got a commissary where we could park 2 trucks, and then we have our prep kitchen and our ghost kitchen. And we were 2 weeks away from opening the restaurant when the pandemic hit. So we pretty much had to pivot, called, you know, the health department, called the city, you know, pretty much, hey, what can we do with our food trucks? And, they were like, well, food trucks are the ultimate, grab and go pickup. So, they pretty much said, do what you do, try to go into the neighborhoods, try to get those people fed. So that's pretty much what we did. Jake kind of, he headed up our online ordering, put, our pickup online system together through our POS. And, we just been kind of grinding that way. And now that we're kind of, we're back to, we have the online ordering, down. It kind of changes with the time, but we're back focused on opening the restaurant. But how we got the restaurant is that we entered a contest called Calling All Dreamers, which the Downtown Sacramento Partnership. It's a contest, like small businesses in Sacramento. If they want to open a storefront, it's kind of like a Shark Tank kind of atmosphere. You put your business plan, have all your numbers, and then you go in front of a panel and you pretty much pitch your idea of why you should be in, downtown and what you could bring to downtown Sacramento. And we won that contest. But one problem that we were having is that we couldn't find the right style of restaurant that we're looking for. We're looking for something small, but with the open kitchen, because we're really interactive with, all of our customers, especially with the, Instagram and tags and all that stuff. So we wanted to be open. We wanted people taking pictures. We wanted to interact with customers. It sounds so far-fetched now. It's the situation that we're in. But that's what we wanted to bring to the table. But we were having problems finding that kind of restaurant that was already built, second gen. And we're going into these empty buildings and, it's going to be, $500,000 to build this out. And, especially with us frying, that hood system needs to be, it can't just be any kind of hood system. You got to have the right specs on the type of hood that you're going to, exactly. Ansel, shoot, like there was one place that we're looking at, it was going to be $250,000 just to put in the chute for the hood because it had to go all the way up the building. So that got scratched real quick. And that was the restaurant that we actually pitched in our Shark Tank panel. So after, that was like, no, we really can't do that. We were looking at another spot downtown, kind of ran into the same situation. And then out of the blue, I get this phone call from, chef at Mother, which was like a vegetarian restaurant downtown, had a Michelin Gourmand and all that. And he was like, hey, I got this place that, might be available. And during this time, we're getting all these phone calls like, hey, I could put you in here. I could give you this. I could give you that. But I want 80% of the business. I was like, nah, that's not going to work for us, So I thought this was the same kind of deal. So I'm like, I'm sitting there on the phone. I'm just like, hey, yeah, okay. And I was like, well, so what restaurant is it? And he's like, it's Mother. And I was just like, oh, wow. So it was an open kitchen, 1,200 square feet, counter dining. This is exactly what we wanted. Exactly what we're looking for. Turnkey, just taking out a couple of their burners and putting a couple more fryers in. I call the health department. I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do down there. They're like, yeah, that's a great location. You can do, they have the right hood for what you guys are trying to do. It was just it was like, you know, I don't even know how to explain it, but it just lined up with everything that we wanted in a restaurant, in the right location in downtown. And then, you know, I think it was the day after Christmas, we got the keys, you know, signed the lease and got the keys. So, and, you know, we're right there, you know, like I said, we're 2 weeks from opening when the pandemic hit. So that kind of, you know, we had to pivot, and, you know, I went to our staff, and I was like, hey, you know, like, what do you guys want to do? And they're just like, hey, we want to work. So, like I just said a few minutes ago, you know, Jake put together our online ordering, and we just been rocking that. We in our commissary, we made it a ghost kitchen, so you can come, you know, pick up food from our ghost kitchen now too. We have 2 trucks out on the road, mainly doing our T&R barbecue spot over on Broadway, and then we're staying in the neighborhoods, making sure they're fed, because we're not like on lockdown like we were, but a lot of people are still working from home, so we're still trying to get to the neighborhoods and feeding the people that, you know, can't get out. So sorry, I'm a little long-winded with it, but yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. But I think we're a couple weeks away from trying to open the restaurant again. So yeah, Jake and I are pretty much focused on that right now, because people still want that restaurant to open, even though, you know, there's no dine-in. It's not going to be what we wanted, but we just want to open it up because people are asking, and I think we can do something for that community, pump a little life into downtown Sac.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm curious, you mentioned a third food truck. So let's talk about, and now a restaurant. Let's talk about infrastructure and training and operations. And you now have at least three crews running 3 trucks, and then you'll have another crew running a restaurant. So, I mean, let's talk about this conceptually. How are you training people? How are you passing on your knowledge as owners and your attitude and your culture as owners on to these people who are now running these major business operations for you guys, right? I mean, you're now 3 trucks, a commissary, and a restaurant coming on board. So how has been your approach to getting people trained? How do you find the right people, the right managers, or whatever you call them, on the head trucksman, for lack of a better term? But I mean, how are you guys going about that, and sort of what has been your strategy to train these individuals?
You know, the main thing is that you can't be everywhere. You know, when you have 3 trucks, you have your commissary. So we have a manager on each truck, and then we have I don't want to call him a GM because he's a chef, you know, but his name is Matt, and he kind of oversees everything. You know, he works out of the commissary, so he's pretty much has, you know, all of his order sheets from the truck. So it's just like, you know, the trucks are buying from the commissary pretty much. Other than going to Restaurant Depot, we made our commissary pretty much like a little shopping center, you know. So there's our order sheets here. They come in, they put what they have on hand, what their pars are, and then they, you know, take what they ordered out. And Matt kind of oversees all of that, because what would happen if you don't do that is that people just start coming in and just grabbing stuff, So you have to have all your inventory down. You have to have all your inventory sheets. And then you have to have a great staff that, that just doesn't come in and start grabbing stuff without writing the things down. So, Matt's our main go-to guy for that. And then we have a manager on each truck, and then they have 3 employees on each truck. But our smaller truck is usually 1 manager and 2 employees. And then, they report to Matt. Matt reports to us. So, yeah, if they need anything, that Matt can't do, of course they could come to us too. But, we kind of try to be like, all right, Matt's the guy, and you have to invest in these people too. You can't just, be like, you got to do this for nothing. You know what I mean? You gotta invest in them. You gotta, and as you grow, you gotta be asking them, what do you want to do? Because me and Jake aren't who we are without a great staff underneath us, So I don't know if you got
yeah, absolutely.
To add,
And go ahead, Jake. I'll let you answer first before I ask my questions.
No, I think that was well put. I mean, it's a challenge, I think, in the restaurant industry right now, especially, just to get great people through the door to hire. That's like we have the operations down, we have everything in place, but who really wants to work and who wants to work right now? I think that's one of our biggest challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're finding that everywhere, actually, and at least in our food service businesses, even all across the country, our facilities. It's like, who really wants to work, right? Who wants to get out there and do something during these times? And and you're seeing it. The cream rises to the top, right? I mean, so we're seeing some opportunities there to find the right individuals, but it is hard, and it is more tedious and harder than we thought it would be also. So I like that. So I want to pause there for a second, Jake, and give you an opportunity to just talk about where people can find you online, what your guys' menu looks like, what the menu is going to look like for the restaurant, and then sort of your Instagram handles, both personally for both you guys, and then your businesses, obviously. So let's talk about that for a little bit.
Sure. Our Instagram handle is at nashandproper.com or at nashandproper, but NASH and spelled out AND proper. Our Facebook is Nash and Proper as well, and then we're on Twitter at Nash and Proper. Personally, my personal account is private. I deal only with Nash and Proper. And Cecil's is what, Chef Cease?
Chef Cease, yeah.
And then as far as our menu for the restaurant coming up, we're adding a few more items. We're going to be doing quarter birds in different selections. So we're adding the breast, we're adding leg quarters that we haven't done before. We're also adding mac and cheese and collards, yeah.
Yeah, so the difference between, because we have a quarter bird, but we're doing bone-in leg quarters, bone-in breast and wing. You get to choose those, and then you get a half bird. Right now, we're working on, so we're going to have 3 one for the crew. It's going to be called For the Crew, so you could, and then For the Fam. And then I want to do one that's called For the Gram. So it'd be 3 different platters, but that's kind of a work in progress right now.
I like that a lot. I think it's very creative. So let's quick run through your menu now and sort of what sides you guys have, what inspires you. Do you guys do anything seasonally? how do you tie that into the website and the offerings and stuff like that in your now to go orders? So let's talk about that a little bit.
For our menu is pretty much the same with the trucks right now. When we get into the restaurant, we will have a little bit more. I think we could start doing a little bit more seasonal ingredients and stuff. But, like you're familiar with food trucks. People know what they want. They want their food. They want good food fast. They're really, every time, I'll come up with a special for Cecil's Taste. It might sell, it might not. So when, the Nash Proper kind of came around, I think Jake and I both were like, let's just do this menu and do it really well. And, make sure that people are getting their food in a timely fashion and, just bang it out. So right now, I think the biggest change that we're doing is that we're going with the local bread company out of Truckee, and they made a special bun for us. We're actually doing a fried cauliflower right now too. It's just like our sandwich, but with the cauliflower instead of the chicken, and it's breaded the same seasoning. And we're finishing up with the vegan version. The bread company actually has a vegan bun that we're going to be using, and that'll probably come out the same time that the restaurant opens. Like our Fuego sauce, which is a mayo-based sauce, we actually made it into a vegan mayo Fuego sauce now. So the whole sandwich will be vegan. Down to our egg wash where we scratch the eggs and we're using like a macadamia nut milk with a little bit of flour and our seasoning and stuff like that we usually do for the egg wash. So those are some of the biggest changes that we're doing right now. And we're working on getting with more local farmers and trying to get a little bit more in tune with our location. But the bread was the biggest thing for me because we go through. I think right now we're doing about 1,200 buns a week. So bringing in a local bakery to do those and they got the price right. A couple more cents more a bun, but that's easy to to work with them on. So that's what we've been working on.
Yeah, I think there's a company by you guys called Mary's Chicken also that does, though I think they're probably free range though, that I've worked with before. That's pretty cool local chicken supplier to you guys. I don't know who you're using, but you mentioned local chicken.
Yeah,
so
they're in Petaluma.
Yeah, Petaluma, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I like that idea. I think that you're starting to see more diverse menus, and that's why I brought up the pasture chicken or free-range chicken, excuse me. And so that's why I was interested. I mean, being in California, I mean, what kind of things do you guys see? Do you see any pushback because you're frying food? Do you see anything related to that? Or people are like, oh my gosh, this is such a relief to get like Nashville-inspired chicken that it's not something, or you guys are conscious of it, that's why you're doing the vegan thing and knowing you probably need to have some healthier options as well?
Yeah, I think, a lot of people, that's what they're asking for. That was the main thing. They're like, I eat the crust off my boyfriend's chicken, but is there a vegan or is there a vegetarian version? And then, we came out with a vegetarian version, which was the cauliflower. And then we started getting, I'm vegan. Can you have a vegan option? And, the problem with, vegan, yeah, you can make all the ingredients vegan, but where are you going to fry the chicken? Because you can't just, make everything else vegan and throw, like your cauliflower down in the same oil that you're frying your chicken in. So we at the restaurant, we could do vegan because we'll have enough fryers. But on the trucks, we probably can't because we only have so much space in there. So that'll be another reason to drive people to the restaurant if they are vegan, because we'll have the space to do the vegan option. But on the trucks, everything else will be vegan. But I don't know, Jacob, I don't think we can even do it because all of our fryers are spoken for, right?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to a space issue, you know?
Absolutely.
We can only have so much on a food truck. I mean, we would love to accommodate everybody,
Yeah.
but, it's
Before
people are
you,
there for the chicken, and we need to, that space for them. For
And-
that, unfortunately.
and food semi kitchen trailers probably wouldn't park so well in the city if you got any bigger. But I think it's a great model, and I think, if not still the most popular, for a long time, the most popular food truck in Atlanta was a food truck called the Slutty Vegan, and I think she's gone to some brick and mortar as well, and multiple trucks, if I remember correctly. But same idea. I mean, you somewhat, as you go into be able to diversify your menu, take your same concept but tweak it enough where it appeals to people, and exactly what you said, where people can still go there, but he or she wants something other than chicken or other than, the standard cauliflower with breading and needs a vegan option. That's pretty cool. So I like what you guys are doing. So, I mean, where do you guys sit? I mean, do you guys ever go on the trucks anymore? Do you mostly spend time in the commissary? Are you spending time in the new restaurant, getting that off the ground? I mean, where do you guys spend most of your time in the business?
I go from the commissary to the restaurant depot to the Costco business. My day is pretty much running around. More of the business side, trying to create new opportunities, looking for, events, looking for new places to park, the truck, trying to expand this thing too, seeing where we could, where the business can go, and, because I don't know if I said this in the first pod, but I can see Nash Proper in every city, especially with Jake's marketing skills. I feel that we could make a home, and all these smaller markets that can't get a Shake Shack or Chick-fil-A, I feel that we can go into these markets and do really good, and make something homegrown in other small cities. Sacramento's not the smallest city, but it's not a San Francisco. I think that these smaller cities are craving something that's creative and really good food, other than your standard fast food, chicken joints or burger joints, because everything we do is scratch made. Well, mostly everything that we do. I say 90% of our menu is scratch made. So
you guys make your own sauces and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, we make all of our sauces. We make all of our seasoning. We make our hot oil that we dip our chicken into. I think that's what really separates us from a lot of, I say any kind of food, from restaurants to food trucks, And people think, we're crazy. They're like, hey, why are you doing all this? Like, it just makes a difference. Like, if you go out to eat, when something's been, pre-frozen or, like, oh man, this is, Frank's Red Hot sauce, and I love Frank's, don't get me wrong, but, it's just those things that, make the difference. And how you taste your food and what the food does taste like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that, and I like that it's you're basically making it from scratch. It's true to you guys, and it's going to matter in a business. If you guys franchise or you guys decide to open ones in multiple cities where you guys have done the steps, you're putting together and the ingredients, the processes, and it's replicable for you guys to train it, which also, and you're obviously training your people so they can, or your teams now, so they can train their teams, for lack of a better term. And, just like I train my teams and the people that work for me, so they can train the next set of people and the next set of teams. And so, I like the model a lot, and I like what you guys are doing, and I see so much potential there. I see being able to bottle your sauces, and offer something along the line. I see being able to do maybe Nashville nugget bites for grocery stores. I see just your cool model and just, the things that you guys are doing because you own your recipes also. I mean, that's an important part. You're not just passing through something, you're owning those pieces, which becomes an important part in any food business as you grow. I mean, it's no mistake you see Taco Bell sauce in the grocery store. I mean, it's a well thought out thing. It doesn't happen right away, but if you've started building now, and it's something that happens 15 years, great. If it's something that happens 1 year, even better, so I think it's pretty cool how you guys have built your model. I've always enjoyed it, and I've known that's one of the reasons your podcast did so well the first time, is just people saw the model and saw the enthusiasm, and that's contagious, right? But you also know when something's going to do well. It's not just luck. We're starting to see you guys build something that's starting to get some serious momentum, which I think is cool.
Thank you.
So Jake, we've heard from Cecil last time, but what is it that you've learned from this business doing it? I mean, if you could pass on anything, it could be on a human level, it could be on a business level, it could be on all of the levels above and any that I can't think of right now. But I mean, what is it that you think you've learned or grown the most in that you would pass on to someone if they came out and said, what is it that you've learned the most or you've grown the most in?
I would say just wake up and do as much as possible in your day and just go at 100% all day long and knock out your to-do list and then keep an ongoing, just be organized mentally, take care of yourself. And, you just have to attack each day and get everything done that needs to be done. We get thrown wrenches here and there, and it's just important to not back down. You have to have that energy and, be able to put out fires where fires need to be put out. And I think that's really important just as an entrepreneur. And, just you have to keep going forward. There's no looking back. And as far as personal growth, I started the social media. I had zero, knowledge of it. I had my personal account and that's about it. But I saw how other brands and other things, were conveyed and how they did it. And for the most part, I just kind of replicate. I might see something cool and then I'll replicate it and put our own spin on it. And you could see from the beginning, if you look at our first pictures on our timeline and go to now, you can see my personal growth right then and there. Like, the way I'm attacking and trying to, convey our message and, market Nash Proper.
Awesome. So, Cecil, how about since the podcast, I think, which was February of 2019, to now?
Oh, wow. That long ago?
Yeah. I mean, changes, growth.
There's puppies.
Yeah. You're trying to make more time for your family and grow the business and talk to me.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the pandemic, I'm getting some time with the family. They probably see me a little too much now. They're not used to daddy being home all the time. But right now, the business. All I can say is that, I think we did the best that we can do at a time like this. With the pandemic, with all the other social justice issues going on in the world and in America here. But I think Nash and Proper itself, I think the pivot that we made is the pivot that I think most people should think about making, and that's just, keep your head down, do what you do well. The people that are out there, I know there's some fine dining guys out there that listen to this. Sometimes you got to humble yourself. People love meatloaf, mashed potatoes. People don't want to go home and pick up a box and have to make their own 5-course meal at home. Humble yourself. If you want to be in business 2 years from now, humble yourself now so you can get back to your fine dining. I think a lot of people get in their own way, and I think about if it was 5 years ago and this happened, I probably would have got in my own way. But just stay out there in the community. People, they remember when everybody was doing all the baked bread. Remember when the pandemic first started and everybody was baking bread? Now nobody has bread pictures on Instagram anymore. So people, they cook for a little bit, but I think, our industry is dying a slow death. But I think that we need to help each other. And I hope that if anybody's out there listening, you can hit me up on Instagram, DM me if you need somebody to talk to. I'm here for you. I have a lot of guys that hit me up just to pick my brain, and I'm just trying to pay it forward. But especially in this time, a lot of people need to talk. And I think I said this on the last pod too. Keep that mental health in check too. It's a rough time out there right now for a lot of people, and your mental health needs to be on. I have family first, but I have mental health a close second. So get all that stuff in tune with each other, please.
Yeah, absolutely, and find ways to find outlets or ways to talk about it, like you said, or exercise or just walking something. It can be a lot being around and spending more time than we're used to with one another and things like that. And it can be stressful every time you think you found a new norm, something changes. So there is that as well, and I think that's pretty crazy, the world we're living in when it comes to that. But I want to touch on something you said, and I think it's important that the industry we live in is changing, food. And, I got to tell you, there was about 6 weeks, I think, I didn't do a single podcast. I just wiped my schedule because we had to steer our own business in a different direction. And needed to put everything focusing on that, and doing that. But we are seeing a change in the world, and we're seeing that the infrastructure and the food infrastructure in particular that we live under, our expectations, it's not quite as strong as we think it is because of the amount of layers in it. So we're starting to see people, okay, let's talk about fine dining chef, that I think is an awesome topic, is there's ways to still create your great food, hit a price point, but it means you're not sitting behind a kitchen and letting just Cisco deliver the food or US Foods deliver your food anymore. You're going to have to go out to the farms. You're going to have to get reliable sources for this food, and get pricing. You're going to have to do a little more effort. And the guys that take the harder path, they're the ones that are seeing success right now. And I'm giving everyone in the audience a little nugget there, because farmers are looking for business too and reliable sources. So, you start dealing with this directly and building these relationships directly. This is what business should be. It's about building relationships, about the local relationships. It's about delivering things in every community you have an impact in. So it's things like that we can do. If you're multiple cities, maybe it's buyers within there have a certain amount of leeway to buy locally. I don't know, 30-40% to get a little bit more flexibility in buying in the communities and reliable sources, because we need flexibility right now. Trying to get everything else is so strict, the masks, the stuff, it's necessary, don't get me wrong, but we need some flexibility elsewhere in our lives. And I think that's supporting our communities, that's taking control of our resources, and our supply chains, our distribution chains, flying local reliable distribution resources. If your delivery, I think, there's a lot of things that we can look at changing in our businesses. It forces us to look at it. So I think that's pretty cool. So I agree with that 100% what you said. So what I'm thinking is I have about 5 or 6 questions that I've randomly pulled off from listeners from your guys' first podcast. But I'm thinking I'll probably get questions again from this podcast. So maybe we'll just reconnect in a couple weeks and do another podcast, just a Q&A with you guys that the listeners can then submit questions. So if anyone has any questions, they can submit them. I'll add them to the ones I pulled off from the first episode, and we can do that. Does that sound like something you guys might be interested?
Sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Because I have some other questions for you guys in terms of moving forward and where you guys are. So you talked about the commissary being like a grocery store for your managers and shopping lists and stuff. I mean, how did you decide? Why get away from the shared kitchen? Why go to the commissary? I mean, what were the hurdles that you were facing that made you decide it? I mean, the obvious one to me is taking control of your own destiny and vertical integration. But I wanted to sort of get inside your guys' brain and why that vital piece.
Well, the from last year to this year, like our business was, crazy busy. We're doing, bottle rock festivals. We're doing aftershock festivals. We were doing all these festivals, and we were booked to do them this year as well. But when you're doing festivals, you're working, pretty much 12-hour shifts as it is, but after that, you still have to, go get the food, all this stuff, so from last year to this year, I just wanted to simplify everything. I wanted for my guys to just come in, the truck's already ready to go. If we're doing a double shift, then, they could come back and already have their food ready for them. Because before, what we're doing is, you have to come in, you got to prep all your stuff, you got to load up the trucks, you got to, go out, do your shift, come back, wash the trucks, and tomorrow you're doing it all over again. So you see the look on these guys, your workers' faces when they're doing this, it's just like, hey, you guys look burnt out. And, like Jake, me, we're still, Jake more than me working on the trucks. And, he's burnt out. All the employees are burnt out. So it's just like, okay, let's just do it. Let's bring in a prep crew. So all that we're doing is prepping the food, loading the trucks. You guys come in, get your drinks on ice, and then leave. So that's pretty much, taking hour and a half, 2 hours out of those guys a day where they could, sleep a little bit more so they could get out and do their shift the next day. I think most of it was just not trying to burn out the crew, because from the first year to the second year, we're just cranking, like the first year it was a little slow, and, we started hitting a little stride, like, December of 2018. And then I think when we first did our first podcast, Justin, that's when we were just like, everybody started seeing us like, oh man, who are these people? And I think you're getting like our little twilight, introduction to, oh, Nash Proper might be a thing, to right now where, we're a staple in Sacramento. I say, seven out of 10 people know who Nash Proper is if you're just walking down the street in Sacramento. So the commissary, but then the commissary eventually we were just gonna do, when we got our prep system down, we were just gonna do our third party delivery system. And when the pandemic hit, we just made it a ghost kitchen, so we didn't have, all 3 trucks out. And while, we have a prep team here, plus we had, a couple guys just doing our pickup orders from the ghost kitchen as well. No third party just yet. But that's what it was supposed to be. But then pandemic hit. Okay, let's minimize this, because we had a few people that left during the pandemic too. So we didn't even have that much staff to go out on the trucks. So the ghost kitchen / commissary kind of helped us out with keeping, a couple guys employed instead of letting them go, because everybody, most of the guys still wanted to work, and we tried to, we made it as as safe as we could, because those first couple weeks, call the health department, they're like, we know just as much as so it was kind of, all right, let's, put on masks, let's wear the gloves, let's, make sure we're changing gloves and have our sanitizer, so we're just kind of winging it, and, just getting our weekly updates from, the CDC, and just trying to follow the guidelines. But Yeah, sorry I'm getting long-winded here, but
No, but quickly explain what a ghost kitchen is, just in case anyone in the audience doesn't know or hasn't heard the term before.
yeah. So a ghost kitchen is pretty much, it's not a restaurant. It's just pretty much you're just making your food, and it's pretty much not like a dine-in restaurant. So you can either, do it as like we were going to do as a, third party delivery, or, pick up, we have a table right at the door. So we put the bag of food there with the person's name. They come in, they grab it, and it's all done, electronically on your phone. So you put in your order, on your computer or your phone, and then you get, updates. So when you order your food, we get it here. We'll press, all right, your food is being prepared. And then when it's ready, hey, your food is ready. So you're getting these alerts the whole time that your food is being made. But it's just not, it's not a restaurant per se. It's just, it's a ghost. It's there, but it's not there. You know what I mean? But we're just doing our Nashville, our Nash and Proper. But some people have multiple concepts under one ghost kitchen. One person have Nashville hot chicken. They'll have an Italian, pizzeria. And, I've heard people having up to 10, 15 concepts all in one kitchen. And just doing it on the third-party delivery services, just under different names. So, some people, they like to expand like that. But especially right now, and this goes back to the restaurateurs, if you guys, have something out there that you guys want to do, and you have a restaurant just sitting there, try something different. If you're doing, burgers, try to, do a taco kit or something like that. Who knows? You never know what it's going to catch. So if you're just sitting on a restaurant, I say make it a ghost kitchen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys for coming on, and I'll reach out to you guys, and we can get you back on in a couple weeks, or even within the next week if possible, or whatever you guys decide works for you. But I appreciate that. So is there anything you guys want to say to the audience before we wrap up the episode?
Go, Jake.
Go for it, Steve.
Oh no, it's if you're in the Sacramento area, hit up Nash and Proper. We're working on the storefront right now, but check us out: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We post our schedule at the beginning of the week. We try to hit most towns in Sacramento. We try to do the best we can, but Tuesday through Friday, we're at T&R Barbecue, 3621 Broadway, and Wednesday through Saturday, we're here 3270 Northgate Boulevard. But those are where we are usually every week. And then, we'll pick up things in Roseville, Elk Grove, but, and then, follow us on, all social media. We're more dominant in Instagram, but we're still on every platform that's out there.
Except for TikTok. We need to get on TikTok so you can start dancing.
Oh, everybody loves my dancer. Yeah, you got it.
TikTok's becoming a big thing, man. It's crazy. That thing has blown up out of nowhere, and people can figure out how to put their businesses on there and their social media. They're going to do pretty well. So, well, thank you guys again. Thank you everyone for listening in, and everyone enjoy their Monday. So I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you guys, Jake and Cecil, for coming on. I appreciate all the promoting you did of the last podcast episode. That was awesome. You guys kicked butt. So other than beef jerky, I would say you guys, chicken, apparently Nashville chicken's the second most popular thing that we've talked about. So it's pretty awesome. Can't wait to see how this episode does. So thank you guys again.
All right. Thanks, Justin.
Have a good one.